Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into the world of artificial intelligence today, specifically how it's playing out on a global scale and China's role in all of this.
A pretty hot topic right now.
It is. And to help us break it all down, we're looking at a YouTube video summarizing Kai-Fu Lee's book, AI Superpowers.
Catchy title, right.
Oh, absolutely. And the book really digs deep. The video, too, asks some pretty big questions like, are robots going to steal all our jobs?
A common fear.
For sure.
Mm.
And what was China's Sputnik moment with AI? You know, that pivotal event that really kicked things into gear.
Yeah, the thing that launched their AI ambitions.
Exactly. We'll get to all that. But first, I'm curious, from your perspective, what stood out most about Lee's overall message?
Well, I think what's really interesting is that Lee doesn't just focus on the tech side.
Right.
He delves into how the US and China, how their cultures actually shape their approach to AI, which I think is fascinating.
Oh, for sure. Cultural context is so important.
And he takes us back to the very beginnings of AI, all the way back to the 1950s. And he kind of charts that whole journey from those early attempts to make computers think logically to, well, where we are now with the deep learning revolution.
Okay, stop right there. Let's unpack that a little. For our listeners who aren't like AI experts, can you quickly explain what deep learning actually is? It feels like a buzzword sometimes.
Yeah, you hear it everywhere.
Exactly. But what's the reality behind it?
So it's essentially a type of AI, right? Imagine a computer program that learns like we do, like a human brain, but identifying patterns in tons and tons of data to make decisions or predictions.
Okay, so it's not just memorizing facts, it's more about recognizing patterns, like connecting the dots.
Exactly. And instead of being explicitly programmed with rules, step-by-step instructions, these deep learning algorithms actually learn from experience.
Okay, so kind of like how we humans learn, right?
Yeah.
Through trial and error.
Precisely, yeah. And the video emphasizes how the smartphone era, with everyone having these data-generating devices in their pockets, that really fueled this explosion of deep learning.
Right, so all that data from our phones, it's like the raw material for deep learning.
Exactly. Data is the fuel for these algorithms, and China has a massive advantage there.
Yeah, they have more internet users than like the US and Europe combined, right?
It's staggering the amount of data they're generating every second.
Especially on platforms like WeChat, Alibaba, TikTok. It's a goldmine for training AI systems.
Oh, absolutely. A treasure trove of data. And that leads us to Lee's concept of the four waves of AI that are already impacting us.
The four waves, okay. Lay it on me.
Right. So first up, we have Internet AI.
Internet AI, okay.
This is all about those algorithms, the ones that power those eerily accurate recommendations on platforms like, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon. And because of their vast user base, China's way ahead in this wave.
Right, like my Spotify Discover Weekly playlist. It knows my music taste better than I do sometimes. It's a little freaky.
Oh, I know, right? Those algorithms can be unsettlingly good. But it's not just about entertainment, right? Lee argues that this dominance in Internet AI actually gives China an edge in gathering data, analyzing it, which they can then use to fuel their AI development in other areas.
So one wave kind of feeds into the next.
Exactly. And the second wave, business AI, is where things start to get really interesting. We're talking about using data to make decisions in like finance, healthcare, even the legal field.
Okay, so that's pretty high-stakes stuff.
Oh, yeah. And while the U.S. currently leads in this area, China is rapidly catching up. They're even using AI in medicine and law now.
Wow, AI doctors and lawyers. It sounds like something out of a movie.
Well, in China, doctors often face massive patient loads, and judges are under pressure to process cases quickly.
Makes sense.
So AI can help them analyze huge amounts of medical data, for diagnosis, or sift through legal precedents to make decisions.
It makes you wonder, are we talking about AI replacing those jobs, or is it more about AI becoming like a tool to make humans more effective?
It's a bit of both, I think. And that's where all those questions about job displacement and the future of work come in.
Right, the big questions about the impact on humans.
But Lee argues that we shouldn't just focus on the fear of robots taking over. Instead, we should be thinking about how AI can actually augment human capabilities and maybe even create completely new opportunities.
Okay, so more positive spin, focusing on the possibilities. So AI, doctors and lawyers, not replacing humans, but giving them, like, superpower.
Exactly, augmenting their abilities.
I like that. So what's the next wave in this AI lineup? What comes after business AI?
The third wave is perception AI.
Perception AI. All right, tell me more.
This is where machines start to see and hear, like we do, blurring the lines between our online and offline experiences, like smart homes, facial recognition.
Stuff we're already seeing, right?
Yeah, but China is taking it further. They have these affordable AI-powered devices flooding the market, like everything.
The video showed Xiaomi, their version of Amazon's Echo, but I mean, they're putting AI in fridges, rice cookers, everything.
It's true, and it's all connected. They have this concept of OMO, online merging offline.
Okay, so not just data from our online activity, but from our physical movements and interactions too. That's a little, I don't
It's
know,
a little big brother-ish.
maybe just a tad.
Hmm.
But all right, before we get too deep into the ethics of all that, let's get to the final wave, the one everyone's thinking about, autonomous AI. This is where those robots taking over the world scenarios come in, right?
It's the one that captures the imagination, that's for sure. We're talking self-driving cars, drones, the whole sci-fi shebang.
This feels like the culmination of all the other waves, right?
Yeah.
Machines doing their thing, no humans needed.
Exactly. And while the U.S. has a lead here, China is investing heavily. They're even building entire highways specifically designed for self-driving cars.
That's commitment. It sounds like China's playing the long game here, thinking way ahead. But what was the catalyst for all this? What sparked this grand vision for AI domination?
The video points to a specific event in 2016, Google's AlphaGo program defeating a legendary Go champion.
Okay, I vaguely remember that.
It wasn't just a technological victory, it was a wake-up call for China. They realized they were falling behind in a crucial area.
It's like they said, game on, we got to catch up,
And
and
it's-
fast.
And they did. The government poured resources into research, fostered tech startups, and even streamlined regulations to encourage this rapid innovation.
So a very top-down approach, government leading the charge.
Definitely. While in the West, Silicon Valley's been more driven by that entrepreneurial spirit, a bottom-up approach.
A fundamental difference in how they operate. So how's that difference playing out?
Well, it's led to some really interesting outcomes. For example, the video talks about how China really embraces this idea of copycat culture, which in the West is often frowned upon.
Right, like in Silicon Valley, copying is seen as unoriginal, almost taboo.
Yeah, but in China, it's seen as a way to rapidly learn and adapt, and then surpass the original.
The example they used in the video was Meituan,
Hmm.
right? Basically copied Groupon's business model.
Yeah, but then they iterated and expanded so quickly that they ended up ahead, more innovative and with a higher market value.
Wow, so it's like copy, learn, then dominate. That's quite a strategy.
And it plays out across their whole tech landscape, from e-commerce to social media giants like WeChat.
Oh, WeChat. The video made a point of highlighting how it went from just a messaging app to this all-encompassing platform.
It's true, you can order food, book appointments, pay bills, everything within that one app.
A digital Swiss Army knife, basically. It really shows how China is integrating AI into the fabric of daily life in a way we don't see in the West.
It raises some concerns about data privacy, for sure, but the level of convenience and efficiency is undeniable.
Okay, so we've explored the four waves, how China's rising as an AI superpower. But the million-dollar question is, what does it all mean for us?
Right, what are the implications?
I mean, will robots actually steal our jobs? Are we headed towards some dystopian future ruled by machines? These are the anxieties people have, right?
Yeah, of course. And those are valid concerns.
Especially with all the headlines and movies about AI taking over.
And we'll delve into those anxieties further as we continue our deep dive.
Yeah, the book definitely addresses those anxieties about AI taking over, those fears. And Lee actually reassures us that, no, we're not heading towards some sci-fi robot apocalypse.
Okay, phew. That's a relief, because I was starting to get a little worried there. But even if it's not like a full-on robot uprising, there's still the very real concern about AI and job displacement. How does Lee approach that?
Well, he definitely doesn't shy away from it. He acknowledges that, yeah, there is potential for job losses. But he kind of challenges us to think about it differently, like what types of jobs are really at risk and what new opportunities might AI actually create. So it's not just about robots replacing factory workers, but we're talking about AI potentially impacting white-collar jobs as well.
Exactly. And the video mentioned how economists are still debating, the actual scale of this disruption.
Right. There's a lot of uncertainty about how exactly this will all play out.
Some predict massive job losses, while others are a bit more optimistic. Lee's argument is that A lot of these predictions don't really consider how AI could completely transform entire industries, like creating entirely new business models that we haven't even thought of yet.
So it's not just about automating existing jobs. It's about AI potentially reshaping the entire landscape of work.
Exactly. And that's a pretty big shift to wrap our heads around.
Definitely. So how does Lee propose we navigate this potential upheaval? Any solutions?
He actually has some pretty radical ideas. He talks about a social investment stipend, basically rewarding people for work that contributes to, social good.
Okay, interesting. Tell me more about that.
So things like caregiving, mentoring, community service, education, things that often go unpaid or undervalued in our current system.
So instead of a universal basic income, it's like incentivizing people to contribute to their communities in meaningful ways.
Right, and it addresses both the economic challenge of job displacement and also that potential feeling of like lost purpose if AI takes over a lot of the tasks we do now.
Makes sense. Like in an AI-powered world, we might need to redefine what work even means. It's not just about economic output, but also about social and emotional value.
Absolutely. And it gets to the heart of, what it means to live a fulfilling life in a world where AI is handling so much.
Right. It forces us to ask some big questions about our purpose and how we contribute to society. So we might need to become like more human, not less, to thrive in this new landscape.
Exactly. It's about cultivating those uniquely human qualities that AI can't replicate. Creativity, empathy, critical thinking, collaboration. Those are the things that will become even more valuable.
It's not about being replaced by machines. It's about finding ways to work alongside them, leveraging their strengths and honing our own.
I like that. And that's where I find Lee's message so hopeful. He's not saying AI is going to make us obsolete. He's arguing that it can actually help us become more fully human by freeing us from those mundane tasks, those things that take up so much of our time, and allowing us to focus on what really matters.
It's like AI could be the tool that helps us unlock our full potential, to spend more time on things that give us meaning, that bring us fulfillment.
Precisely. It's about seeing AI not as a threat, but as a challenge, an invitation to reimagine what's possible.
I love that. It's an empowering message. It reminds us that we have agency in shaping our own future. But I do have to admit, I still have some, like, lingering anxieties about AI. What if it doesn't work out the way we hope?
That's understandable.
What if we create a world that's, less humane, more unequal, more divided?
Those are valid concerns, absolutely. And it's important that we acknowledge those anxieties, have these open and honest conversations about the potential risks, and work together to, try to find solutions.
Right. So it's not just about blindly embracing AI. It's about approaching it with both optimism and a healthy dose of caution.
Exactly. Finding that balance. Being hopeful, but also critical.
Yeah.
Enthusiastic, but also vigilant.
Because ultimately, the future of AI, it's not predetermined.
Right. It's not set in stone.
It's something we're creating together through our choices, our actions, our conversations.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so crucial that we engage in these conversations, ask those tough questions, challenge assumptions, and really trying to work collaboratively to shape a future where AI is serving humanity, not the other way around.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about taking responsibility, not just letting things unfold without our input. But this brings up another dimension we haven't really touched on yet, the whole geopolitical aspect.
Yeah, the global implications.
Yeah. The video highlighted the U.S.-China rivalry in AI, and it feels like there's a lot at stake here, right?
Definitely. It's not just about economic dominance. It's about who gets to set the rules for how AI is developed and used globally.
So it's a race to become the leading AI power, with incredibly high stakes.
Yeah.
Does that worry you? Could this competition escalate into something more dangerous?
It's a possibility, for sure, one we can't ignore. But, amidst all the competition, there are also opportunities for collaboration.
Okay, so it's not just about, like, one side winning and the other losing.
Exactly. Both the US and China, they have a shared interest in making sure AI is developed responsibly.
Because ultimately, nobody wants to see this powerful technology used for harmful purposes.
Right, and that common ground is where we can hopefully find ways to work together despite the competition.
It seems like we need a global conversation about AI, involving not just governments and corporations, but everyone.
I completely agree. The future of AI is way too important to be decided by just a select few. We all need to have a voice in shaping it.
That's a great point. But where do we even begin to have that conversation? Where do we start?
That's a great question, and I think it's one we should explore further in the next part of our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground already, from the history of AI to the rise of China to the potential benefits and
We've
risks,
really gone deep.
but there's still so much more to discuss, especially about how we can ensure that AI is used in a way that benefits all of humanity.
So much to unpack, right? And it feels like we've only just scratched the surface,
AI is such a vast field, constantly evolving, always something new to learn.
which leads to a question I've been thinking about. We've talked big picture, global scale, but
Mm.
what about us? Like as individuals, how do we prepare for this AI-powered future? What can we do?
It's a question we all need to be asking. I think, honestly, one of the most important things is to really embrace this idea of lifelong learning. The skills we need today, they might not even be relevant tomorrow.
Right. So it's not just about getting a degree and calling it a day. It's got to be this constant process of learning and adapting.
Exactly. Upskilling, reskilling, constantly evolving. And it's not just about technical skills either.
Yeah, what else is important?
It's about cultivating those human qualities that AI can't replicate. Creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, empathy, communication, collaboration.
Those soft skills, those human skills, they become even more valuable in this new world.
Absolutely, they're essential.
It's almost like we need to become more human, not less, to thrive in this AI landscape.
Yeah.
It's not about being replaced, but finding ways to work alongside these intelligent machines.
I like that, yeah. Leveraging their strengths while honing our own. And that's actually where I find Lee's message so hopeful. He's not saying AI will make us obsolete. It's more like AI can help us become more fully human.
Okay, I like that reframing.
Like by taking those mundane tasks off our plates, it frees us up to focus on what truly matters, those uniquely human aspects.
It's like AI could be the key to unlocking our full potential, giving us time and energy to pursue things that bring us meaning, that bring us joy.
That's the idea. It's not a threat, but a challenge, an opportunity to reimagine what's possible.
And to create a better world, hopefully. I love that perspective. It's empowering. But I got to be honest, I still have these little anxieties about AI. You know, what if it doesn't all work out the way we hope? What if we end up creating a world that's actually more unequal, more divided?
It's good to acknowledge those anxieties. They're valid. And that's why we need these conversations, right? To be open about the potential risks and work together to find solutions.
Right. So it's about being hopeful, but also critical. Excited about the possibilities, but also realistic about the potential downsides.
Exactly. Finding that balance. It's not about blindly embracing AI. We need to approach it thoughtfully, cautiously.
And remember that we have a role to play in shaping this future.
The future isn't predetermined. We create it through the choices we make, the actions we take.
That's a powerful reminder. And it makes these conversations even more important, right?
Absolutely. We need to ask the tough questions, challenge assumptions, and collaborate to make sure AI serves humanity, not the other way around.
This has been such a thought-provoking deep dive. I feel like we've covered so much ground, but also just scratched the surface.
The world of AI is vast. It's constantly changing. There's always more to learn, more to explore.
And that's what makes it so fascinating. But for now, I think it's time to wrap things up.
Sounds good.
But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. If AI can potentially automate so many tasks, freeing up our time and energy, what will we do with that newfound freedom? What kind of world will we build? What does it mean to live a meaningful life in this age of intelligent machines?
Big questions, important questions, and they're not easy to answer, but I encourage everyone to keep exploring, keep questioning, keep engaging in this conversation, because the future of AI is ultimately the future of humanity.
And that future is ours to shape. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.